Yeah, my name is Sam. Thank you very much, Karen. First of all, I want to thank Karen for inviting me to speak here. And actually, Karen spent many hours to help me prepare this presentation. So the title of my presentation is Live Logging. I'll explain why we use live instead of live. So, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a husband and a father. I have 2 boys. There are tons of things to do. There's always more things to do than the time that allow me to do it. So I always want to be more efficient and more productive, right? Get more things done, but still want to have a good family life and time with friends. So life is beautiful. So a lot of things happening. I got, as I mentioned, I have 2 boys. I have a lot of photos about them. But these photos are just a few key frames. Right? A lot of things are happening in between. It's really hard for me to remember what the things that are happening in the past. And also, I feel like because always doing coding meetings and all kinds of things, it's hard for me to remember a lot of things. Sometimes I meet somebody, they look familiar, I just can't remember where I meet them. So I like to have a way to keep track of everything, so that I can always go back and search for it. And also for some friends, I can just have a tool to look for all the moments we're together. Maybe 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, we had this wonderful moment at Santa Cruz or something. So I have a lot of things I wish I have. I wish I have a tool that can just automatically check for traffic if I have a meeting in San Francisco in 2 hours. Even before I leave, the tool should check for traffic for me. If it detects a traffic accident on 101, it should just tell me at that moment, Sam, you need to leave 30 minutes earlier, or you take 280 instead of 101. Or I wish I have a tool that can remember when I get gas last time and keep track of how many miles I've driven. Then when it sees that I have only half a gallon left, just look for a cheap gas station for me automatically. I don't need to ask. And people are saying, why don't you just use Siri? Siri is great, but you have to ask the question first. I wish I have a tool that can understands me and just knows when I need something. So basically, I wish I had something that can do things for me even before I ask. But I definitely don't have money to hire a butler, so it was thinking, why can't we just build one? So cell phone is really powerful. It has a lot of sensors in it, so I wish it can hear me, see me, and understand me. And when I need something, it just do it for me. As I mentioned, actually cell phone has more senses than human now. It can see, it can hear, it can feel, it can tell the temperature, it knows where you are. Very soon it can feel the moisture and the humidity as well. So this is just a few pictures of some sensors. So we got a few friends. Okay, only 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
okay.
3 minutes.
Let me just jump to some demo. So I use this to keep track of things I do. It just runs in the background on the phone. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to manually check in. So this is actually my life today. You can see actually last night I was at Karen's home preparing this presentation, and this morning I went I went to Karen's home again, and went to my office in Alohar Mobile, and now I'm in Stanford Management Center. So let me show you another one. My life. This is shows my life on Black Friday. I was on a shopping spree. This is color-coded based on speed. Green shows I was driving, and red shows I was walking. So you can, on the right-hand side, you can see I visited a lot of places. I was at Best Buy at midnight, but I stayed there for only 11 minutes. Then visited a bunch of other places. So all this is done automatically using that tool. So by using this tool, I learned a lot of things about myself. This is how I spend my life. You can see it's pretty boring. 95% of my time is at home and work, and only 5% other places. So if I remove home and work, this is how I spend my life. Spend a lot of time at school. This is where my two boys go to, restaurants. Where do I drink coffee? Fuse Coffee, Starbucks, Cuba Cafe on University Avenue. This tool just do that all in the background without me manually checking. And also it understand whether I'm walking, driving, or stationary. So this is a breakdown of my time. Most of the time I was sitting still, driving and walking a little bit. In the weekend, you can see I drove and walked a little bit more. So I use that to switch back and show quickly. Hope I still have time to do that. Oops. I'm trying to, So in the past 6 months, I've been to 380 places. This is a long list of places I've been to and how much time I spend there. So if I search for tennis, it just shows all the places I've been to play tennis or buy tennis gears. You can see actually I played at Stanford tennis court many times. It has all the timestamp there. So I use this to track, how often do I work out, how often do I work. So I see it really improve my quality of life and give me a lot of hints on how to improve my efficiency. So I'm running out of time.
You have 7 more seconds.
Okay. I guess I just continue to use this tool to make myself healthier and more productive. Thank you.
Sam moved forward in his presentation. What he's really talking about is actually, rather than spending the time to input into our phones and track, that it's actually persistent sensing technology. So it's really a new development, and so he obviously is a model for using it for efficiency and effectiveness in his life. So I guess if anyone has some questions that they'd like to ask him about, how this helped him in his life or tracking issues, go ahead, Bob.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You want to go?
Sure. First of all, I think it's awesome what you're doing. Have you found battery to be affected by this? Is that an issue, or is it, especially with iOS, because it's tough to get around Apple's restrictions?
That's one of the biggest challenges we face. Actually, we spent 2 years optimizing the battery life. We do adaptive sampling so that we don't need to keep the GPS on all the time. GPS is the most power-consuming part in the phone. So we actually use a motion sensor, Wi-Fi sensor to tell whether you're moving around or not. If you're sitting here for an hour, you actually keep the GPS off to save power. But when you move out of it and your speed increases, then we turn on GPS. It's a lot of intelligence there to have longer battery life.
So let's go to Bob, and then that was your question. Okay. So and you're back there first.
So you're in the business school.
Louder.
You're in the business school right now. Currently, the app is free. How are you monetizing?
Oh my God. Am I allowed to talk about that? This is.
I don't think he's associated with the business school, or are you?
Oh no, I'm saying he's physically.
Oh, he's physically here. Go ahead.
So they want to know his business model for the app.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, the first thing I want to do is to build something useful. Just like Larry Page and Sergey when they first built the search engine, I don't think they know about AdWords. But once you have a really useful thing, I think money will come. But there's other. We do have some business models we can figure out. I think the most important thing for us is to build a really smart personal assistant in the first place.
So Robin's next, and I can see a lot of questions, but go ahead, Robin.
I just looked at the app in the App Store. It looks great, but then the first thing it says is agree to a privacy policy, which is long and complicated. So
Privacy policy?
Yeah. And so can you just say what do you do with the data that you collect? Like what is your? Because there's no quick way to find out. I mean, you say we've got a policy that I've got to read through in detail. So
I didn't write that privacy policy. We have to work with a lawyer, and whenever you work with a lawyer, they are going to put in a lot of languages I don't even understand myself. But basically, we have to take the privacy really seriously, right? And because it's taking a lot of data, and in essence, this tool is a private tool. It's not like Foursquare, like you share with everybody else. You keep everything confidential, and only the users can access it using a username password. So you can always delete it if you don't want it. But if you want to share with some other people, you can select a few places. So if you're on vacation in Paris, you can select a few museums you want to share. But we do encrypt everything and make sure only the user can access it, and nobody else can.
So is there one last question, I think?
I thought we.
I'm sorry, we have a...
You're got 4 minutes, you have 2.5 minutes.
So we have quite a number of then questions. Hands back there?
So I'm also heavily into persistent and sensing, and wondering how you will handle the relationship between where you are and what you're actually doing when you're, for example, indoors and location is not very precise, it doesn't give you everything. Like, you're probably doing very different things if you're in the living room or in the bathroom.
Yeah, right now we mostly focus on outdoor location, indoor location. There are a lot of other people working on that to make it even more precise, to tell the difference between two rooms. But for us, we mostly focus on the outdoor location. But indoor, like if you have 3 different conference rooms, we actually can use the Wi-Fi signal to tell the difference as well, and also Bluetooth and other signals. Like whether you are close to the window, we're not monitoring the thermometer yet, but in the future, once we can tell the temperature and brightness, we can tell the difference between indoor and outdoor. And also your motion can tell a lot of things. If your Starbucks is right next door to a Walmart, we can use the motion pattern to tell the difference. When you're in Starbucks, you're sitting there most of the time. But if you're shopping in Walmart, you're actually mostly walking around.
So it's clear to me that what you describe is possible in theory, right? Like, I'm wondering what you're doing in practice right now.
Yeah, we're actually using that. The Starbucks example, we're already doing that. Yeah.
Okay, here.
Just curious, given the user behavior, what's the most common use case that you're seeing customers use?
Actually, on Twitter account, I saw a guy posting saying that he has been using it for only 2 days, and he says it's already changing my life. And I asked him, why do you think it's changing your life? He said he's a TV writer in LA, and he has to drive around a lot to visit a lot of people. And he used to use his cell phone to, whenever he got to a place, he needs to lock that entry time, and then when he leaves, he needs to lock the exit time. Now using this tool, because it's running in the background, so it can detect when you get to a place and when you leave, so it's all done automatically. So he finds that it saves him a lot of trouble. And another use case, actually, Tim already was saying that he runs a run keeper to track, the running distance and the speed and everything. And one thing he finds pretty annoying is that whenever he starts running, he has to press a button, and when he stops, he has to press a button to stop. And he was saying that why can't you just use the sensor to automatically turn on the run keeper when you start running, because the motion pattern and speed is very different from walking and driving, right? So the phone is capable of doing that. So using this kind of technology, you can automate that process to basically relieve people from all the tedious things.
It looks like there's room for one more question.
So you mentioned there's a wish list that you'd like to know the traffic flows. I mean, ways crowdsources movement, and it just makes me wonder if you see any ways that you could crowdsource from all this private behavior. I guess you answered Robin's question by saying you're going to keep it private, but it seems like aggregating would give you an opportunity to...
Yeah, potentially, yes. Just right now, we're trying to figure out how to balance between the privacy and cross-sourcing. We just haven't started doing that.
Okay.
So it looks like there's 20 and do you have one more very quick question?
Yes, very quick. So your name suggests that, and also the examples you showed suggest that it's primarily a tracking, a logging, and reporting tool. Or is that kind of phase one? So the reason I bring it up is because initially you said, well, Siri, you have to ask it a question.
Right. This is just the phase one. Phase two is to use all this data to understand the user's pattern and then can predict what the user is going to do next. Then based on that, we want to make recommendations to the user just to change their life easier.
Great idea.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
So we're going to do a quick change.